Okay, so that is the Ujjayi breathing that we do when we practice Astanga Yoga. So it's a specific breathing technique, and I will be teaching you how to do that. I will talk about the meaning of the breath, why we want to do that, and also I will introduce a Kumbhaka Pranayama, which I have a pre-recording, a practice for you on our Patreon page. So in this video, I will explain it so that you know what we do when we practice it. Because when we do the practice, then I won't be explaining anything. So let's start. Ujjayi breathing is a specific technique where we inhale and exhale through the nose and we control the breath in the throat. So when we practice Astanga Yoga, that is what we do. So we can do it like this. When you start to learn it, this is a good way to do it. Inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. With that sound. Inhale and exhale. Like that. So when we practice, we don't exhale through the mouth, we exhale through the nose. But you just want to get that experience of the control first. That when you do this, that you contract the throat. That is what you want to do. And then I'm still contracting here. So when I close the mouth, control stays here. So now when we inhale, we try to inhale through that. And exhale. Not here. Not like that, but here. It feels like you're breathing into the throat. Activate the lungs, exhale. If you don't know what the locks are, shortly, lift the pelvic floor up, below navel pull in. That's Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. And those are the locks that we use when we practice Astanga. Creates gives us support to the core, also makes all the lifts easier. Like lifting, when we lift up, when we do vinyasa, we lift up and we jump back, and when we do all of these difficult movements, it's important to have the activation of the lock. So below navel, gently pull in. Okay, pelvic floor up. But then the breath, so it's expanding. So you're not lifting up here. You're using the diaphragm, pulling it down and creating a deep, slow breathing. So when you learn to control it, the breath in the throat, it allows you to change your breathing rhythm drastically. Your breathing rhythm becomes very slow. Now when we practice, then we might not, it's not probably that slow, like you're not trying to make it very, very slow, but it is still controlled and slow-ish. I like to practice slow. I like the feeling when I really slow down the breath. So why we want to do this breathing? Let's talk about that. So if you think about your experience as a human being here in this crazy world, we don't experience an objective reality which is like set and this is how it is. See, we can sit here, you sit here, I sit here, and someone sits here, and we look at the world in front of you. We all have different experiences of the same, so to call, same reality. And why that is because what we experience is what we have inside of us, not what's out there. So if you have a lot of fear, you will experience things in the world that will give you more fear. If you don't have fear, you tend to experience things that are not fearful. So if we can somehow change what is happening within us, so if you can release stress, if you can go from a state of stress and fear and worry into a state of calmness, slowness, connectedness, then the experience of your whole world, your whole life changes. That's why it is so important. So when we practice Astanga Yoga, the key for me, it's a breathing practice. It's a breathing practice in different poses, it's a breathing practice in a movement. So we work with the physical. Yes, we open up the body, we make our we get more mobility, flexibility, we get more strength, we get more balance, body awareness. All of this happens. So all these are all physical aspects, and that's why it's a great practice. It's a really good physical practice. Whatever you think about yoga, what yoga is, or whatever your whatever belief system you have, whatever philosophies you follow or not, it's a very good physical practice. And I think most people probably come to Astanga Yoga because of that, because it's a really good physical practice. But it's not just physical. So with the breath, we start to slow down and we start to influence our nervous system. So when we influence, how do we influence the nervous system? With this deep breath, we start to balance the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So we get them in sync. So it's like gas and brake with the car. When you drive a car, you don't want to push gas and the brake at the same time. When you push gas, it's like then you go, and sometimes you need to push the brake, right? To slow down. Don't do it at the same time. So that's our nervous system. Sympathetic, gas, parasympathetic, brake. So when we do this even slow, deep breathing, when we do Astanga Yoga or just breathing practices, we start to make these nervous systems sync. And I can demonstrate, I've actually made videos where I demonstrate this. I should actually, at some point, I will demonstrate it again. How you can change how your heart functions with the breath. So when you do deep breathing like this, you will influence how the heart works. And there has been a lot of studies regarding this, about the heart coherence. To have a coherent heart, your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous systems are in sync. And when you have that coherent heart, your heart starts to kind of, I don't know how to explain it. There's more nerve impulses going from the heart up to the brain than the other way around. So heart rules. The heart is the important. That's why I think this is interesting because we can talk about the physical aspect, but we can also talk about the spiritual aspect. What is more important, the heart or what's in here? So my view is the heart. The heart is important because with the heart we include different. And now this is not important, but I will still share. I think with the heart we tend to have. I've tried to explain it. It's difficult. Our mind, our brain, our thinking process is rational, based on logic, right? But our heart is not about logic. It's about, I put here love or kindness or cooperation or empathy or I think love is a good way to explain it. And when I talk about love, I don't talk about egoic, I love you when you do this. for me. Love is the opposite of fear. That's my view. So I think it's important that we have in our world, in our lives, we have this influencing our thoughts, our actions, and our words, of course. Right? Anyway, that was a detour. We went into a different aspect, a different topic already. Let's get back to practical, simple things. Um, when our nervous system, when we have a deep breathing, we start to release stress. Our stress levels become lower. You can check it with your smartwatch. I can teach you a breathing practice, and you can check what that does to your stress levels. You will see. So when you have less stress, less fear, your experience of the world is nicer. You experience better things. That's why it's important. So yoga for me is a tool. Yoga is not the end goal. That's why when we start to practice yoga, we tend to go into the direction of becoming better at doing yoga and still stay assholes. We're still assholes, but we're better at putting our foot behind the neck. So that's not important. If it doesn't change you in different levels, then it's not important, in my opinion. If you are just flexible, so what? How about being a better person? So I think that's what yoga is for. And we need the breath for that. We actually do need the breath. So the yoga practice physical. Okay, I'm just gonna I'm gonna rant a little bit. This is gonna be I'm just gonna share. The yoga practice is physical. We start to cleanse up the body. We start to become stronger, more flexible. We have more freedom. We have more health because we get toxins out. We need to get toxins out from the body. If we don't get toxins out from the body, we become sick and we don't feel good. So that's the physical cleansing process that happens with yoga. I'm not going to go into details now. I can do that another time. But it's also an emotional cleanse. So when you start to open up the physical body, you start to move. The physical and the emotional are connected. So when you start to move the physical, you start to open up the emotional body. And then you start to release some of these blockages that I don't know how to say that. A block that you have inside of you emotionally. So you can have some old emotions like inside, and that will influence your physical. So if you have a lot of fear, worry, your physical body starts to change. So if you are fearful, a fearful person doesn't hold them like this, right? A fearful person is like this. So the emotional aspect influences the physical. So when we start to manipulate the physical, we start to manipulate the emotional. It's almost like we are telling our emotional self that it's okay to release something. And that's why we get sad sometimes in the practice. In the relaxation, you start to cry. Why? Because you have let those old, blocked emotions become free. And you can then release them, which you need to do. There's no other way than to release them. You won't get rid of them by just holding on and hoping they disappear. So we need to release those emotions, old emotions. That is required. We can do a discussion with my wife, who's a therapist. Then we can talk more about these themes. So emotional cleanse, physical, emotional. But then let's talk about the mental. So when you do that deep breathing, Ujjayi breathing, when you have that deep breathing, that will start to slow down the mind, because it slows down the nervous system. It starts to slow down the mind. So your mind is not that active. So that's why meditation is difficult, because your monkey mind doesn't want to sit still. Like, okay, now I'm gonna start meditating. Now I will start meditating. This is the new year, and this year I meditate. And then you go into meditation, you're like, okay, why do I do this? Like, this is not, I don't feel comfortable here. I wonder how long I've been here. I'm quite bored sitting here. There's so many things I need to do, but I need to meditate. I need to empty my mind. I can have no thoughts in my mind. Let's empty the mind. See, this is all blah, 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 blah. It's constant blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to tell you, if your meditation is that, just stop it. It's a waste of time just sitting and talking constantly inside of your head. It's very difficult. So if that is your meditation, how about starting to breathe? Blah, 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 blah. And that's how you empty the mind. It's simple. So, breathing, in my opinion, is a very good way to start doing meditation. Yes, then when you learn a little bit, you can influence what's happening in your body mind system by manipulating your breath. Then it becomes easier and easier to start to just work with the mind. So you can just stop here, but still, when I just meditate, I can still follow my breath. That's the subject of my meditation, because meditation actually means just guiding your attention towards something. When you start to do that, when you guide your attention into your focus into something, it doesn't, you can't think about all the other things, like the work, the relationships, the messy room, the this and that and that and that. So then you only have one thought in your mind. And then bit by bit, even that thought disappears. Not always. But the breath can be, even though you don't do ujjayi breathing, the breath can still be the subject of your meditation. So that is what you not analyze. Analyzing something is a mental activity. When you analyze, it's 1 + 1 is 2. So when you follow your breath, for instance, when you go into meditation by following your breath, then when you follow the breath, you observe it, you feel it. You can feel the cool air flowing in, you can feel slightly warmer air coming out. You don't have to create stories around it. It's just an experience. So you don't have to, let's say, cool air flowing in, you can feel that. And then warm air flowing out. Yeah, it's warm because it went in and the body warmed it up, and it's like, don't go into that. That's a story. So meditation is the idea with meditation is to get rid of the stories. Our stories run our lives. That's why we have a lot of challenges in our lives, because we have bad stories. We have saved bad, quote unquote bad, not useful stories, or not valid stories, stories that are not valid anymore. That story you saved into you can be from when you were a kid, but now you're 40 years older. So probably that story is not valid anymore. You don't need that story. Stories create challenges in our lives. So if we can learn to let go of some of those stories, it's not easy because they are saved into our body, in the emotional body. That's why the subconscious runs our life. It's our subconscious is actually ruling. See, you can just decide that, okay, let's say what could be, you're fearful. You're a fearful person. You fear. You have a fear of, I don't know, death. That's quite drastic, but okay. When you sit now and decide that, okay, I will just trust that the universe will support me and everything is good, everything is okay. There's no actual threat, and I'm more or less healthy, so I'm just gonna like think positive thoughts and not let that bad thought of death influence me. So I'm just gonna decide that with my mind, with my conscious self, that I will think positive thoughts about my health and my everything, my reality. And you can do that every day for 20 minutes. Every morning you wake up, you do that visualization and you do that thinking, that positive thinking. But then the rest of your day, the 23 hours and 40 minutes, your subconscious rules. And those stories that are in the subconscious are what actually create your reality. Not when you just decide not to think about bad thoughts and have good thoughts. That's why change is difficult, because you can change your mind quickly, but you can't change your subconscious, that deeper part of your mind, that quickly. That requires a lot of programming, reprogramming, or a lot of release, where you release of the old programming. You delete it. That takes time. That's another topic. I know this video, I had a different thought in my mind when I started doing this video. Now this became this, so I don't know. It is what it is. So the breath, to bring it back to the breath is in the core of the practice, because it influences the mind, the nervous system. It also influences the body. So when you have that deep breathing, with that breath, you start to release also that physical tension. Because see, when we practice yoga, it's not about getting something more. That was a good realization I had with the practice a long time ago, was that I don't need to become more flexible. I don't need to get stronger. We use these terms because that's how we talk, but it's not really that. With yoga, you don't need to get anything more. It's always about letting go of something. So it's always the opposite than getting more. It's always letting go. So to give you an example, easy to understand that flexibility, you don't get more flexible, you get less rigid. You let go of some of those blockages, difficult word, those blocks, physical or emotional blocks. When you release the physical and emotional, by the way, when you practice a lot of yoga, you will understand this. You will experience this. So, sorry, you don't understand it, you will know it. Because when you have some emotional issues, let's say you have some anger issues. I've had a lot of those. I still do. And when I do some of that anger release, one way or another, hopefully positive ways, not to break things and break relationships. So when you release some of that anger, the next day the practice is a lot better. Your physical practice, your body is different the next day when you release anger. That's a fact. And you can try it. So when we release something, when we release the emotional, when we release the blocks that we have in the physical, then we become more flexible. So we don't need to get anything, we need to get rid of something. But strength, okay, okay, how about strength? What do you let go of to become stronger? That doesn't make any sense. You need to get more strength. No, you need to get rid of that which doesn't allow energy to flow freely. Chinese medicine, it's all about energy flow, right? So that they work with the needles to try to manipulate energy flows in the body. If the energy flows, you have a lot of strength. We need to get rid of those things that block the flow of energy. And when you do that, you are stronger. See, it's always about letting go. It's not about getting something more. It's always about letting go. So, with the breath, we influence the mind, we influence the emotional body, we influence the physical body, the nervous system, the heart. So is that important? Yes, it is very important. That's why I say inhale, hands up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, jump back. By the way, one interesting thing, I don't know, I've really haven't looked too much into this, but just an idea that I had one day, because I was thinking about the breath. Is like, for me, it was something like, the thought that I had was something like, the breath is like, it's like, it's, how do I say, how did I think it through? It was like a mantra or a song of your soul or your spirit. So that the breath is the music for your soul. The breath is the music for your soul. Something like this. That was my thought that I had. So then I was thinking about the breath, and I was just looking at, because in Finnish or Estonian, so in Estonian it's called hinkamine, and in Finnish it's called hengittäminen, hengitys. In English it's breathing. Okay. Hinkamine hing is spirit. Hengitys, hengittäminen, henki is spirit. And I think in Italian also, I might be wrong, but at least inspiro, espiro. Spiro sounds familiar to spirit. I don't know. Maybe someone can comment below. But anyway, at least in Finnish, so if I say, or in Estonian, if I say hinkaminen, it's like saying spiriting. But then I looked into breathing, what the word breath, where it comes from. It was something like stinky or smelly or something like that. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound good. Just an interesting thought. Interesting language, this English that we use everywhere. Some people think that this language is actually not, how do I say it? That it's purposefully been, I don't know. Let's not go into that topic now. But yeah, in Estonian, breathing is spiriting. So that's interesting. Okay. Let's go into the breathing practice. So now you understand my view of the breath. So the breath is the most important part of the practice. So when I just briefly I end this physical, the Ashtanga yoga practice and the breath with this idea. I'm actually gonna share this now because this is now such a long video about the breath. I think this is now the right place to share this. When I was practicing in India, I think it was in 2007 with Guruji. Mostly his grandson Sarat was teaching, but also Guruji was teaching. And I'm not talking about our cat who moved in. I call him Guruji. So when I was practicing there one morning, so the practice is really intense. It was really early. Every morning before 5 o'clock, we were already at the gate waiting for the school to open. And very intense practice. And eventually I felt really tired. And one morning I was waking up like, I'm so tired that I don't know. Like that was the first and only time when I had the thought that, what if I skip the practice today? So when I go to India to practice, the most important time of the day is that 2 hours when I'm in the shala practicing. So everything around or everything that happens outside of that time is for that. It's serving that time. So everything I do is to have my practice time. So when I was having that thought that maybe I don't do the practice, that was weird. Like, well, how can I think like that? I'm here to practice. Discipline. It's an important part of yoga. So then I decided, nah, I'll just go there and I will just breathe. I'm so tired, physically, emotionally, everything. I was so tired. I was like, sorry about my language. Close your ears if you don't want to hear bad language. I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna do my practice. I don't care about the teacher. Like, I'm not gonna try to impress my teacher. I'm just gonna do the practice and be as lazy as I want. I don't care. I was so tired. I was just focusing on my breath. It's just a breathing practice for me. I don't care about the physical practice. And I went to the shala. I started doing the practice. I started moving. I was really tired and achy, like aches and everything. And I was just like, just a breath. And I had no expectations, of course, because I was really tired. And then what happened was that I can't really explain it other than kind of like I was downloading something like a movie, short movies. And I had this first of those short movies. I've explained this in my workshops. First short movie that I downloaded was of me standing I was in India, but I was standing on a beach next to the ocean, and I saw a big wave coming in. This didn't happen. This was just a vision. Let's call it the vision. Don't make it anything out of it. It's just an. Anyway, I was seeing this wave coming in. And if you've been in these big waves, you know that they can be kind of nasty. And when you came, I was just like trying to like try to survive it and kind of like fight it to like and like take it on. And the wave just hit me and took me, like I was just going around with the wave and just took me that way. And that was the first short movie. And this is as I can't explain it because it's not, I can't explain it. I was practicing. And the second wave came. And I was standing there seeing the wave, and I realized that I can't fight it. It's so huge. I can't fight it. I tried it, it didn't work. And then I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna let go and let the wave take me. I didn't fight it. I just relaxed and I went vroom with the wave. And that was a lot better already. A lot softer. Third wave. Third wave comes, and as it comes, I realize that I'm the wave. So I wasn't standing here. I am the wave. And later I realized what I experienced, what that meant for me. And like I said, don't it's just a story. Don't worry about it. It's just a story. Stories are not important. Experiences are important. So for me that was how I interpreted it like was this. When we practice, first we tend to have this idea that when I raise my hands, it's an inhalation. When I go down, it's an exhalation. When I lengthen, it's an inhalation. So that the body kind of leads and the breath follows. But then I realized that the second clip, the second short movie, was where the breath led. So when I practice, when I inhale, I raise my hands. When I exhale, I go down. So breath leads, the body follows. Not body leads, the breath follows. So the physical is not controlling the breath. The breath is controlling the physical. So what's the third one, you ask? Some of you already know. The breath is the movement. So it becomes one. It's not separate. But the breath and the movement is one. So me raising my hands, it's the expression of my breath. The physical movement is the physical expression of my breath. That's what it meant for me. What happened was, remember I was practicing. So when I was practicing, I got so because I became the wave, I became the breath. I am the breath. I'm the physical expression of my breath. What happened was I felt totally connected with the ocean. I am the ocean. I'm not just a wave. I'm not just an individual wave. I am the ocean, expressed as a wave. And what happened, because I was actually physically practicing, was that I was flying back and forth, lifting up, and I was like, I was so light, I was like breath. This sounds weird, I know. I hope I can express it properly. I felt like I was the breath, so I was just weightless. This was my physical practice, actual practice. This is not imagination. I was jumping back and forth. My physical body was doing this. Very strong practice in the morning when I was feeling dead tired. That was the first time I've experienced something like that, and that was mind blowing. And then what happened next, you ask, was this. I thought, this is amazing. How can I repeat this? And what happened then was that my body became a body, a very heavy, achy, powerless individual body. Wasn't connected. And it was like, the ego. How can I repeat this? Yeah, that was very meaningful for me. Hopefully, I could express it in a way that you could kind of get something out of it. So, when we think about the physical Ashtanga yoga practice, or the practices that I do that are around it, so full vinyasa, for instance, where we have the mantra music, which gives us the rhythm for the breath, and the breath leads the body. So in full vinyasa, we use mantra music. It goes, but it has a certain specific rhythm, and then we start to breathe into that, and that breath again starts to lead the body. The breath leads, and then eventually the movement and the breath becomes one. It's one thing. This is just the expression of the breath. I guess I think that's it for that. Uh, I will now talk about the specific breathing practice for a moment. And I don't know how I will post this. Maybe I separate these things. I don't know, because this became very different what I was planning. I was planning to do a very specific video, but now it became a more of a just me sharing. But I think this can be useful. Can be actually better this way. But anyway, so I have made because the Ashtanga practice, or all the practices that I do are based on the breath. It is always a breathing practice. Maybe Yin Yoga is not so much breath practice, but all of these physical practices that are always breath practices. But we can also do breathing practices, and Pranayama is a different tradition. So the Asana tradition, like we do Ashtanga Yoga, it's not the same as Pranayama tradition. Pranayama tradition, they have many, many different breathing practices. And I like the asana practice combined with the breath. So for me, it is a breathing practice. But some people they eventually maybe go into pranayama. They want to go away from the physical into breathing. I understand that. I have friends who have done that, but I don't know. I think I like the movement side. I want to have that side as well. So pranayama breathing practices are like the asana practices, influencing the body, the mind, the nervous system, all of that. So there is a breathing practice that we do in Ashtanga Yoga that we regularly, like what I practice with my teacher, for instance. It's the Kumbhaka Pranayama, and there's a specific way to do the practice. There's like like a sequence. Well, not on quotes. It is a sequence. It is a, we do this, that, but not with the body, but with the breath. And Kumbhaka means the holding of the breath. So we do this Kumbhaka, we put the chin down here. It's kind of like closing. If you have a bottle, you put the cork on it. So you could put the cork on here. At the same time, you have a cork down here. So you lift the pelvic floor up. Below navel, you pull in. So you have a bottom and you have a top. So you create this. And when we do this with beginners, it's not a very strong practice. So in the pranayama tradition, they don't probably teach, or they don't teach this. They teach different practices that are softer. But we do this as a simple version, so it's all okay. In the breathing practice that I actually filmed, and I'm going to share it down below, the link is down below, where I don't explain, it's just this, it's kind of like a lead class, so we just do it. This is now the explanation. I do, in the sequence, I do one extra breath there, and I will soon explain where it is. So just that you know that it's not exactly the traditional way. It's a little bit easier. But yes, we have the breath, and then we have the holding of the breath. And this holding of the breath allows the body to do this change, like giving you oxygen, taking away carbon dioxide. It makes this process better. And especially I like it because this holding of the breath gives us this kind of creates a gap. It creates this gap where you can experience emptiness. So there's no content, not even the breath. So you're breathing, so your focus is in the breath. But then when you don't breathe, then there's stillness, emptiness, a pause. You are not dead, you are not sleeping, but there is no content. And you just experience that emptiness. It's beautiful. So I hope you can find that eventually when you do this breathing practice. So how do we do it? First of all, I will start the practice with just having this breathing so that you can have this nice and even rhythm. We do about, I think, 5 breaths in the beginning. And then we start the first round. Then we do inhale. It's kind of slow. It's like inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And this second time, so when we start the first round, we have 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Finish your exhalation. So you go all the way so your lungs are empty. You don't have to like squeeze yourself empty. Just a normal way to breathe, empty lungs. You finish the breath, and then Kumbhaka, chin down, and hold the breath. And that's when you start to create that gap, that emptiness. When you do that, your lungs are active. Here, this one is Yalandhara Bandha, Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, Yalandhara Bandha. Names are not important. Stories, doesn't matter. Bottom and a cork. So when you do that, don't overly activate the body. Just let your body be soft and just have the lungs active. And then also notice your mind, what your mind does. So not like, I'm holding my breath, I'm holding my breath, I'm holding my breath. No, just hold the breath. Empty and soft mind. So not like, notice your face as well. So if you notice that your face is starting to tense up, then your mind is tensing up as well. Relax the face, relax the mind. Don't try too much. Just don't breathe. And remember, you will not die. We will stay there only for 8 seconds. You can see it in the video, the 8-second counter there. You don't have to watch the video, but it is there for you to see if you want. So you have this, shoulders down, not activating the body. And then, important, there's an inhalation. You lift the chin up, inhale. So you lift up and start to inhale. And not like this. Hold on. Not like this. Chin up, inhale. Because now it's up here. You breathe up here, you don't breathe down here. You want to breathe down here. So it goes like this. Hold the breath. Chin up, inhale. Well, we don't do the inhalation Kumbhaka yet, but anyway. So let's start again. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Finish your exhalation, Kumbhaka. Then inhale, start slow. Exhale. Finish your exhalation. Kumbhaka, hold. Again, 8 seconds. Chin up, inhale. Exhale. Finish your exhalation. Kumbhaka. 8 seconds. So that's 3 times. 8, 8, 8. And then we do inhale. Exhale. Now this was the extra breath. And then inhale. Finish the inhalation. Kumbhaka. And then you have your lungs are filled, not shoulders up. Again, the same thing with the body. Don't tense it up. The lungs are active. Cork on. And you just experience that gap again, that stillness for 12 seconds. So after exhalation, 8. After inhalation, 12. Then chin up, exhale. Again, slowly, start slowly. Inhale. Finish the inhalation. Kumbhaka and 12. Shoulders down. Mind soft. Face soft. Chin up, exhale. Again, inhale. Finish the inhalation. Kumbhaka. 12. So 3 times again. Okay? Inhale, exhale. Let's start from the beginning. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Finish the exhalation. Kumbhaka. 8. Inhale, exhale. 8. Inhale, exhale. 8. Now we change the direction. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, 12. Exhale, inhale, 12. Exhale, inhale, 12. I'm going to change my hand. Okay? So 3 times here, 3 times here. And then exhale, 1. Inhale, exhale, 2. Inhale, exhale, 3. Inhale, exhale, 4. Inhale, exhale, 5. That's 1 round. Start the second round, not with the initial breaths, but the 2 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, Kumbhaka. 8. Inhale, exhale, Kumbhaka. 8. Inhale, exhale, Kumbhaka. 8. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, Kumbhaka. 12. Exhale, inhale, Kumbhaka. 12. Exhale, inhale, Kumbhaka. 12. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Third round, and you get the point. Okay? That's how we do the breath. Now you can actually do it by yourself. So you don't even need my video. But the link below, there is the guided, it's just me guiding you the rhythm. So you don't have to do it anything. You just listen to what I say. Now the Kumbhaka ratio, Kumbhaka, the holding, the retention of the breath. Here 8, here 12. Okay? So the ratio is 2/3. I don't know if that's the correct way to say it in English. The ratio 2/3, meaning if this is 2, this is 3. If this is 8, this is 12. If this is 10, divide by 2, multiply by 3 with 3. I don't know how you say it. Divide by. Anyway, you get the point. Divide by 2 or with 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5 times 3 is 15, right? 12 divide by 2, 6, multiply with 3, 18. Get the point? 20, 30. That's the ratio. And this breathing, inhale, exhale, these are even. Sometimes in pranayama, we have double exhalation, meaning inhalation 1, exhalation 12. Like doing alternate nostril breathing, 1 in, 2 out, or 5 in, 10 out. But now in this one, it's 1 and 1. Okay? So now that was the explanation that I actually wanted to do for the breathing practice. But this video became very different, so I don't know how I've edited, or I don't really think I want to edit this, but I might just add down below this topic. So, well, you see how it is. So, but I think I'm actually quite happy that I shared these things, because this, I think, explains a little bit for many of you how I see the practice and what I actually teach, what is important for me. So, yeah, find the link below and start breathing. This breathing practice helps you learn the breathing technique. It will teach you to breathe properly, and this will then influence your asana practice, because then in the asana practice your breathing is deeper and more controlled. Breath is the key. And especially in a world like this, it seems that people are afraid to breathe. People don't know how to breathe. And if you don't know how to breathe, your nervous system is always stressed out. So you're constantly living in a fearful world. You're constantly living in a fight or flight mode. Be honest. Is it difficult for you to sometimes just sit and do nothing? Just chill. Without having substances to give you that feeling. I know many of us have that problem. I don't really think I have that problem. I think I can chill quite easily. But I see that even with close people, like people around me, sometimes it's difficult for them to slow down. So use the breath to release some of that. Remember, it's all about yoga, it's all about letting go. You're not getting any better, you're not becoming anything more, you're becoming less. Yoga is all about letting go, and when you what do you let go of ultimately? Like, what's the absolute act of letting go? It's your death. That's when you let go of yourself. If you haven't done it before already. Latest, when you die, you will let go of yourself. So life teaches me all about that. So from my perspective, when I look what's happening in this world of this character and the world we live in, the things and the people and the experiences and the natural world and the man-made world, it's always teaching me one thing: let go. Always, it's all about letting go. So with the yoga practices, we don't become anything more, we become less. And that's the growth. So then we can go into spirituality. What is spirituality? So for me, spirituality is about letting go of yourself. That is where we end up. I'm not here trying to teach you, like, I'm not here above you. I don't really consider this character to be important. And that's not just words. I can see that this is a character. The character is not important. The wave is not important. The wave is part of the ocean. Thank you. See you in practice.